No, 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 no. You don't want that form of linoleic acid, which is just regular linoleic acid. You want conjugated linoleic acid because linoleic acid gets converted straight to arachidonic acid, and that's highly inflammatory. But if you have the conjugated version, it just completely ignores that step, and it's not highly inflammatory. So what the heck? I literally just talked about this. If you know that conjugated linoleic acid is better, then why would you even advocate for any fruit or vegetable? What? I don't get it. They're giving me the science to prove themselves wrong, and then they're advocating that it's healthy. Like, what the heck? This is confusing. Okay. Reducing free radical damage. Oh, wow. Hello. And inflammation throughout the body. They're saying reducing free radical damage and inflammation throughout the body. You would assume that they know what they're talking about because like solanine literally just causes more reactive oxygen species. Solanine induces excess reactive oxygen species generation through the endoplasmic reticulum, which causes ferroptosis. If you know that and you know what solanine is in, you'll be like, oh my God, potatoes, tomatoes, all that stuff isn't healthy anymore. I can't eat all that. There's actually a way longer list. I have a video on that called the Detox Paradox if you're interested. Really? Switch the bulk of your diet to fresh, organic, raw vegetables? Like, did they not? They literally just proved themselves wrong. Last page. Literally just pointed out phytotoxins before. And then they just advocate for this. Like, is there any understanding at all? Holy crap. Yeah, this is clueless. So I'm going to be going over Dr. Mercola's nutrition plan or something. I've been getting a lot of requests for this. So apparently there's this article or whatever, and I'll be giving it a read, and you'll be able to see once again what I see in terms of whether or not this is or isn't BS in some way, shape, or form. Yeah, the whole thoughts of what's going on nutritionally. So let's get to it. At the very beginning, it says, if you feel you already eat a basically healthy diet, the majority of you will benefit starting at level 1. So I guess it's assuming this thing on the right side here says introduction, proteins, carbs, fats, beverages, supplements, lifestyles. Already I see something that says eliminate all wheat, gluten, and highly allergenic foods from your diet. I would agree 100%. So for instance, wheat, that's definitely going to cause you some problems. Wheat's basically gluten and gliadin. Well, gluten is gluten and gliadin. The phytotoxins, once again, these are not healthy. They literally like tear your tight junctions open. And by the way, your tight junctions are called tight for a reason. They're supposed to be tight. They're not supposed to be loose. So once that's true, highly allergenic foods. Now, I don't necessarily know what they mean by this, but if it's a plant or a vegetable, it will cause this sort of allergy response or this immune response one way or another. It will cause inflammation. Doesn't matter what plant you're eating, it always causes it. So I'm not necessarily too sure what he means by this, but let's give it a bit more of a read. I sort of do seem to understand that there is actually like phytotoxins called gliadins, as there are also glutenins. But regardless, yeah, okay. So yeah, exactly. So this is the thing. I'm pretty sure that it's gliadins that are the ones which can attach to a carbohydrate on the surface of the cell and cause this autoimmune reaction. So yeah, and trigger an unwanted immune response. Exactly. If you are gluten sensitive, your body will produce. Yeah, okay, yada. We know that. Another reason is because it will impair your immune system. Yes. Okay, this is very interesting. Casein will do the same thing. I think casein does it way less. I'm pretty sure it does it way less. I'm not actually entirely sure on this. This is actually a very interesting point. But yeah, I do agree. I would recommend not going for the milk stuff unless you're a child and you're growing in your developmental ages. Then milk's important because it's a growth factor. But unless you're not a child, if you're not a child, like this is not. I don't think milk is necessary. I don't think that you need that. So yeah, that's a very, very interesting point. Yeah, casein is very addictive as well. Casein is insanely addictive, like ridiculously addictive. So that's another reason I think that you should avoid milk. I've noticed a lot of people on carnivore, whenever they add milk back in, eventually they also start adding other things back in because it's sort of that taste comes back, or that's what I've noticed anyways. And they try to add something else back in and then something else, and then they basically just go down that whole rabbit hole again. I wouldn't recommend this. Once again, I don't think that this is ideal. This stuff is, casein is insanely addictive. It's ridiculously addictive. So yeah. Yeah, he's clueless. Never mind. So I already see something that says quinoa and amaranth are also generally safe. No, they're not. You're gonna get phytotoxins from every single one of these. Not only that, they also have fiber, which is unnecessary. You don't want that actually. There's so many other problems with all of these. So quinoa, just for instance, it's supposed to be anyways, this superfood, and this superfood that has really high amounts of protein in it. No, okay, that's not how it works. Protein is not basically just, oh hey, I have 10 grams of protein and I absorb all 10 grams. No, the way protein works is it's all based on the weakest link in terms of the amino acid concentration. So if you have a million threonine and then you have one isoleucine, you're only getting one protein because it's all based on the weakest link. It's all based on the relative concentration of all of the amino acids. So this is clueless. No, quinoa is not safe. Definitely not. This stuff is just not safe. It's not necessary. It's damaging. They all have phytotoxins one way or another. Some of them have it in higher concentrations. Some of it have it in lower concentrations. For instance, some beans really destroy your stomach. Actually, all beans do because they have lectins. And some other things, for instance, like almonds, have cyanogenic glycosides in them, which have cyanide. They're both damaging. There's no reason to damage yourself one way or another. So both of these are just bad. This can be quite tricky if gluten is a staple of your diet. In my opinion, it's not super difficult to remove this stuff. The difficulty is not removing the food. It's having that thought stuck in your head of wanting it again. That's the main problem. The removing the food is not the problem. I think you can remove the food one day easily. The problem is having the quote unquote motivation to constantly eat healthy and basically remove all of it. And motivation is basically, to keep it really simple, actually, I will eventually be covering this. Actually, this is not even related to nutrition. Motivation is literally just the ability to keep a prolonged thought in your head. That's literally all motivation is. So if you can do that, I'll be covering how you can do that as well. If you can do that, then you shouldn't really have this problem of relapsing. Or relapsing becomes a lot less common. So it's yeah. Food sensitivities lead to decreased serotonin levels, which can negatively impact your mood. I would say that the reason why you're getting this negative mood is just a lack of cholesterol, honestly. That's what I would say. It's just cholesterol and, for that matter, iodine. But in this case, I would say mostly cholesterol, because in this case, he needs to fix cholesterol before he starts adding in iodine. Lead you to simple sugars and carbohydrates for a pick-me-up. Yeah, you don't ever want to use carbohydrates much as a fuel source in the first place. If preferable, you want your cells using fatty acids. You don't want them using carbohydrates. Gluconeogenesis, you want your carbohydrates for specifically your erythrocytes. I don't think your other cells are best using carbohydrates. I definitely don't think they are. They should either be using ketones, lactate, or they should be using fatty acid. Well, it doesn't really matter what they're using, as long as they're not using glucose, basically, because that's the worst one possible. Highly allergenic foods you should avoid: wheat, soy. Okay, I completely agree with all this. TEF, pasteurized cow's milk product. I mean, I would say this is probably a million times better. This right here, TEF, pasteurized cow's milk product, is a million times better than wheat, soy, white flour products, whatever this is, rye, spelt. What is this stuff? Kamut, barley, couscous. I don't even know some of this stuff, but if it's a plant, then I would avoid it. Once again, plants all have phytotoxins, and they have to defend themselves from predators one way or another. So that's just the way it is. For the last 5 decades, many people have turned away from healthy fats like butter. Holy crap, what the hell? Healthy fats like butter. Okay. Replacing saturated fats with carbohydrates actually leads to detriment. Whoa. Okay. Somebody's correct. Yes, this is very true. You don't want to be replacing saturated fats with carbohydrates. Okay. Well done. Good job there. Overindulging in sugar and grains overwhelms your brain too, as having a consistently high levels of glucose and insulin blunts its insulin signaling. Yes, I would say there's a couple reasons why having high insulin is really, you could say multiple versions of this. There's a reason why having high glucose is bad, as well as having high insulin. The reason why having high insulin is bad is because it prevents your cells from committing apoptosis, and you kind of want your cells to kill themselves when they need to be killing themselves. You don't want senescent cells, so that's one reason why. Another reason why you don't want high blood glucose or anything of that sort is because it's really toxic. Like, glucose is genuinely really toxic. It causes glycation, and glycation is not healthy, by the way. Like, it's really, really bad. It'll cause an advanced glycation end product, which is literally the cause of Alzheimer's. It'll just bind to whatever, and when it binds to whatever, it literally just binds to whatever, because sometimes if it's in that deep glucose form, in that unchained form, then it can actually bind to whatever. And when it does, big problems happen, like really, really big problems happen. And yeah, so, okay, that's, I was not expecting that, which can lead to impaired thinking, memory. Yeah, type 3 diabetes. I would say this isn't, I wouldn't say it's because of high glucose. I would say specifically more so it's the high amounts of glycation occurring. And I think the best way to demonstrate that this is the case is if you look at adult fruitarian, or just a fruitarian for that matter, especially a long one, you would see that their brain, they literally can't think. Like, when I say they can't think, I mean it takes them a million years to think of the correct sentence to say. So if you haven't seen my video on that, go check out that video. I think it's called like all the reasons why vegan doesn't work or something. I can't remember, but one of them references fruitarian, specifically adult fruitarian, and you can literally see what I mean by this guy is like 30 or 40 years old and he already has Alzheimer's. It's insane. It's ridiculous. I don't know how old he was at that point, but it was wasn't good. So if you want to achieve optimal health, I recommend you replace the calories you are getting from wheat and with healthy saturated and unsaturated fats from whole foods. I would say preferably saturated, but I would definitely say whole food animal, not plant sources. You don't need plant sources at all. No. You don't want that form of linoleic acid, which is just regular linoleic acid. You want conjugated linoleic acid, because linoleic acid gets converted straight to arachidonic acid, and that's highly inflammatory. But if you have the conjugated version, it just completely ignores that step, and it's not highly inflammatory. So yeah, this is like no bueno. Not only that, actually, plants have higher polyunsaturated fat content, which once again is more prone to lipid peroxidation. So if you're producing more reactive oxygen species, you got an even bigger problem on your hands. It's definitely not healthy. Once again, I wouldn't recommend it. In fact, the high polyunsaturated fat content could very well be the problem when it comes to people having like depression, anxiety, and that stuff, because lipid peroxidation of the myelin sheath, that could actually be a big part of it. That could be a very, very big part of it. That's actually a very interesting point. I'm not entirely too sure about that. That could be the case. I also do know that polyunsaturated fat will be stored in adipose tissue for like 5 years to 7 years, and if you have tons of it, then it like really messes with adipose, or the fats. Adipose means fat. It'll really mess with the fat cells. So once again, not healthy. Why do you want them from plant sources? I don't know. Avocado, I wouldn't recommend it, but it is one of the healthier versions when it comes to plant foods. Organic grass-fed butter, ghee, yes. Okay, I'll agree with this. Raw cacao butter, no. Coconut oil, God, no. This stuff gave me chest acne. Don't do that. Trust me. I experimented with this myself. Worst idea ever. Pastured poultry fat. If it's an animal fat, yeah, that's fine. Lard or tallow, yeah, it's fine. Extra virgin olive oil, wouldn't recommend it, but this is actually probably the healthier option. It's either one of these three are the healthier plant options, but they're all still unhealthy because they all induce inflammation one way or another. And their polyunsaturated fat content is far higher. So I wouldn't recommend that. Just stick with the animal oils once again. Nuts, especially, no, you don't want, once again, higher polyunsaturated fat content, and a lot of nuts, like almonds, for instance, will have cyanogenic glycosides. Why do you want to be giving yourself cyanide poisoning? There's no reason. And you're saying, oh, it's just a little bit of cyanide. There's no healthy level of cyanide. Why give yourself any cyanide at all? So once again, not healthy. This sort of stuff, by the way, does not exist in animal products. Like, animals don't have just residual, like, cyanide waiting to be released. They don't have phytotoxins in them. The way animals defend themselves is mechanically. So they'll literally, like, scrape at you, kick you, bite you, whatever, right? But that's not how a plant defends itself. So it's basically just how exactly are they defending themselves. Seeds, oh, God, no. Okay. Yeah, this is psycho right here. No bueno. Olives, no, once again, this stuff is not healthy. You don't need this. And the fats you want to avoid altogether, as they are high in, yes, I will agree. Vegetable oils, I agree. Seed oils, okay, 100%, I agree. Trans fats, yes, okay. It would be best to strive at least 50% up to 85% of your overall energy intake. I would just recommend it being 100%. Just stick 100% meat. That's it. You'll have enough PUFA content, and you'll have not only will you have enough polyunsaturated fat content in the meat, you will also have the healthier version and the non-inflammatory version. Not only will you have the non-inflammatory and the healthier version, you will also have tons of other things like adequate vitamins and minerals. You will also have adequate amounts of protein. You will also have basically no glucose content because you don't want glucose content. You'll have, I mean, there's so many things from meat. Carnitine, fatty acids, like really rather you choosing to, instead of oxidizing glucose, oxidizing fatty acids. Once again, way better. Bringing your glucose and insulin levels into healthy ranges. Okay, I'll agree, but I will say that there's a little bit of a detail to this healthy range. Because if you look at a healthy range of a glucose level of a baby, it is in such ranges that if you measured their blood, you would think that they're about to die. Or they're going to be in a coma. But babies don't just end up dead or in comas when they're born. So I think the glucose levels as of today that we have are so skewed in comparison to what they should be. So once again, reducing free radical damage. Oh, wow. Hello. And inflammation throughout the body. As fat is a cleaner burning fuel than grains, starches, and sugars. Okay. I mean, I'll agree with them here, but when they're saying reducing free radical damage and inflammation throughout the body, you would assume that they know what they're talking about, because like solanine literally just causes more reactive oxygen species. I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, it was solanine induces excess reactive oxygen species generation through the endoplasmic reticulum, which causes ferroptosis, which is like a iron-dependent cell death. This is if you know that and you know what solanine is in, you'll be like, oh my god, potatoes, tomatoes, all that stuff isn't healthy anymore. I can't eat all that. There's actually a way longer list. I have a video on that called the detox paradox if you're interested. Not healthy. Lowering triglycerides, I will agree with this. Raising LDL, HDL levels, good cholesterol. There's no such thing as good and bad cholesterol, but okay. Interrupting the cravings that lead to weight gain. You can do this with leptin, by the way. You just want to lower the cravings, increase leptin content. How do you increase leptin content? That's right, you eat fat. That's it. So not that hard. Improving mental clarity. Okay. I guess you'll probably you'll get better mental clarity if you cut that stuff out. So, okay, I'll agree with that. Make sure at least third of your food is raw. What? Okay. If you're cooking anything, you should only be cooking vegetables and fruits. So remember, always make sure wholesome food sources. Like, I really don't like this word. This is so vague. Wholesome food source companies. Like what's wholesome? Define wholesome. Are grains wholesome? right? So this is just clueless. Protein and its array of amino acids is very important, but can you eat too much protein? The answer is a resounding definite yes. It's pretty difficult, honestly, if you do it. If you trust me, if you're carnivore, it's very difficult to eat enough. It's very difficult to eat too much protein. Cons of excessive protein intake. Far more protein than they need. What? Americans are consuming far more protein than they need? No, they're consuming too little protein. They're consuming such high amounts of unbioavailable protein. That's the problem. Along with excessive non-fiber carbohydrates. You don't want fiber. And not enough healthy fats. I could probably agree that's the only one. The only one is the healthy fats here that they're not consuming enough of. And also target mTOR. Oh my God, not again. Okay, I'm not even gonna. Okay, mTOR is stimulated by two things. It's stimulated by leucine, which is the protein that they're mentioning in here in this case. I don't think they're even gonna talk about which protein it is. Yeah, they're not gonna. Okay, it's leucine and it's IGF. Those are the two things that stimulate mTOR. mTOR is necessary though. You need mTOR. So you're not just gonna lower protein content and then lower mTOR and suddenly you'll be healthier. No, you're gonna look emaciated. You're gonna be like what a vegan looks like. And by the way, vegans don't live too long if you didn't already know that. If you haven't seen all of the, especially the raw ones, the raw vegans, oh boy, they do not live too long at all. So it says minimize your risks of cancer growth by preventing this excessive mTOR growth or mTOR pathway stimulation. Okay, the way that is going to work is the only way it's going to happen is if reactive oxygen species or inflammation, one way or another, something causes mitochondrial dysfunction. That is the only way that that's going to happen. If you don't have mitochondrial dysfunction, this cancer can't occur. It can't. And how do you possibly get that? High stimulation of insulin, basically eating tons of carbohydrates, or you can also do it through eating chemotherapy drugs because yes, chemotherapy drugs. I actually meant plants because plants are literally like chemotherapy. Solanine, for instance, you want to induce enough more reactive oxygen species and basically cause the potential chance of mitochondrial dysfunction. Yeah, exactly. This is how you would do it. That's why a lot of these chemotherapy drugs, if you didn't really know, one of their side effects is potentially inducing a secondary cancer. Yeah, this is because they literally will produce so much reactive oxygen species, which can literally just damage the mitochondria. And enough damage to the mitochondria will lead to mitochondrial dysfunction, which is the thing that literally causes cancer in the first place. Why a vegetarian or vegan diet can wreak havoc on your health. Okay. Yes, that's very true. Another, what the heck? Okay, if you know, I literally just talked about this. If you know that conjugated linoleic acid is better, then why would you even advocate for any fruit or vegetable? What? Okay, I'm confused. That it's like, what is going on? Why are they saying that this stuff is healthy? I don't get it. They're giving me the science to prove themselves wrong, and then they're advocating that it's healthy. Like, what the heck? This is confusing. Okay, I guess we'll keep going. So what's your ideal protein requirement? You'll need to know you literally just need to know, just listen to your taste buds. It's not really that hard. If you're eating meat and only meat and you listen to your taste buds, you'll know pretty well whether or not you're having enough protein. If something doesn't taste good, you just don't eat it. It's not that difficult. And if something does taste good and you're eating only meat, then you just eat that. It's really not that hard. So yeah, the only way that your taste buds are going to get screwed with is if your microbiome is messed up. You'll need 30 to 70 grams of protein a day. What the heck? Okay. If you're excessively lactating, just once again, be carnivore. This is so much easier. Like, why no animal in nature is just measuring what they're eating, okay? If animals were measuring what they were eating in nature, nobody would be alive, okay? We'd all be dead. The cows wouldn't be able to know how much grass they're supposed to eat. The lions wouldn't be able to tell whether or not they should or shouldn't be eating food. They won't be listening to their hunger signals. Like, it's really not that hard. when all hormones are like in adequate balance, you'll know really quickly. It's like, oh, I'm hungry right now, I want to eat. Oh, I'm not hungry right now, I don't want to eat. It's really, really not that hard. So once again, this is yeah, okay, see, this is what I mean. This is ridiculous. Why would you do this? This is literally like, who's doing this? Who's just throwing calculations out there? This is insane. Like, there are so many processes that require protein, basically amino acids in your body. And if you don't have them, this doesn't occur. So if you're really advocating for this, I mean, obviously, this sounds like you would go emaciated. This is crazy once again. Eggs, I agree with all this. If you add cheese, don't add cheese. I'll just keep it at that right now. Seeds and nuts, you don't want any of this stuff. This is, once again, just look at the amino acid content in them. They're so imbalanced. Their profiles are like 1 million isoleucine and then 1 threonine. You're not going to get anything out of that. I wouldn't, once again, and not only that, they contain phytotoxins, they contain higher polyunsaturated fat content, they contain ALA. I'll at least say good job that you're cooking them. But no, you don't want lectins anyways. So once again, this is not healthy. Most vegetables contain about 1 to 2 grams of protein per ounce. Your source of protein matters. Yeah, it does. You're right. I'll agree with you. Are eggs a good source of protein? Yes, they're literally the best source of protein. Really? Really? Switch the bulk of your diet to fresh, organic, raw vegetables? Like, did they not? They literally just proved themselves wrong. Last page. They literally just said you get better sources, you get conjugated linoleic acid, and then they're advocating for this. And then not only that, they literally just pointed out phytotoxins before, and then they just advocate for this. Like, is there any understanding at all? Holy crap. Yeah, this is clueless. All right. Enlighten me. Not all vegetables are nutritionally equal. None of them are. You don't want any of them. Most people don't realize how you cook your food matters. Raw form. Cooking or exposing vegetables to extreme temperatures can strip them of nutrients. It'll also strip them of the phytotoxin content. So you're just lowering the nutrient content as well as the inflammatory markers that you're getting from them. Consume vegetables in their whole raw form. Yeah, go ahead. Go do that. Go look at all the people who are raw vegans and tell me how well that works. And then actually, in fact, for that matter, do that and then do that with all these raw meat eaters. And tell me if you see a little bit of a difference. I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to see a huge difference. You can go raw meat if you really want. You can't go raw vegan because you become emaciated. There are so many examples of people literally dying out there because they can't do this. Their body literally can't handle this. It's so much stress on the body, so much inflammation. It's insane. So, holy crap. This is clueless. Ferment the foods. At the very least, I'll agree with that. You do want to be detoxing them or getting rid of tons of stuff which are really bad. They are really rich source of probiotics. Okay, yeah. Literally, you'll just get the exact same thing from meat because you'll get your butyric acid or butter in this case, which is literally the thing that you're doing to feed your gut. Or you can get it in the form of fiber, which is way less efficient and causes damage along the way. And not only that, causes nutrients to be absorbed and hindered, so you can't actually absorb them. Why would you do this? The health benefits of sprouts. Compared to their mature version, they have 20 times more vitamins and 100 times more enzymes. Okay. Oh, I guess this once again, it's like he has no clue about the vitamin and mineral interactions that occur in plants. If you knew the vitamin and mineral interactions that occurred, you would realize you're not getting almost any vitamins and minerals from them at all, because they're just preventing you from even absorbing them in the first place. Why would you do that? Once again. All right, so honestly, this thing is way too long to read and go through all of it individually because, like, it's just insanely long. But I can tell you right now, it's a little strange that they will literally give themselves their own evidence that proves them wrong and then advocate for the exact thing that's, like, literally unhealthy that they just said was unhealthy based on the biochemistry. Like, it's It's really confusing. Maybe they just don't know the sources of where those things are found, because if they realize like, oh yeah, it turns out that there are phytotoxins in like wheat, for instance, and you want to be avoiding wheat. Great, now let's avoid wheat. It's like, do you really think that just applies to wheat? I mean, that's number one. Number two, the linoleic acid thing. They literally proved themselves that conjugated linoleic acid is healthier and it's found in animals, and basically you get less of an inflammatory response. So once again, why would you eat the plant version? And then once again, they just start advocating for plants. So these people, I don't know. These people, like, this is this is actually the best example that I can think of where this is living proof, where it's what it looks like when you can't use your brain and you can't put things together. This is what it looks like right here. It's this stuff. So once again, I don't think this is ideal health. Is it at least in the right direction? Sort of. I would say at least that they're saying, hey, you know, like you want them filled with saturated fats, right? You want your saturated fats found in animal products. Great. I'll say that part. But the rest of this stuff, like, they're literally proving themselves wrong once again with the science. And then they're just advocating. Once they prove themselves wrong, they're saying, oh yeah, okay, go eat that. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And not only that, they're also saying high insulin signaling leads to these problems. And I'm like, great. And then they just advocate for higher insulin signaling. Like, what? Is there no concept? Well, actually, I guess they didn't necessarily mention the Randle cycle or the insulin to glucagon ratio. So there's no understanding of how mixing both fat and basically fat, protein, and carbohydrate will just skyrocket the insulin to glucagon ratio and cause problems. So yeah, that's actually pretty interesting. That's probably their main flaw, I would say. If they understood that, then they would realize very quickly, and as well as actually applying all of the information that they knew earlier, they would see very quickly that what they're advocating for is like very unhealthy. So yeah, once again, thanks for watching. If you found the video helpful and informative, please like, share, subscribe, comment down below, because it really does help the channel grow. And if you're interested in seeing all of my videos ahead of time, click the join button down below where you can see all of my videos ahead of time, as well as support me personally. So yeah, once again, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.